One, and we are recording. What's up, guys? Welcome to the free feed of what would we call this? Let's call it the damn. They would call it the DD because decon and dirty birdies. So, you know,
The double D.
the the double D. Yeah, you guys are getting the double D today. Um,
Yeah.
on the double D conspiracy 20 minutes, whatever the hell this is going to be. So today's topic, we want to talk about this crazy, like, what was insane was that, um, oh, I am your host, Decon, here with Dirty Birdie.
Yep. I guess
So,
I'm the secret underground agent or whatever.
yeah,
in the
yeah, the
group.
secret underground agent. So, yeah, so remember that when MK Ultra was just a conspiracy being whispered in the shadows and people would laugh at you, for like MK Ultra, what are you, dumb? And then now it's like official knowledge because of like disclosure and like paperwork has come out. So now like everybody's heard of MK Ultra, and all of its different forms because people think MK Ultra and they think that it's just one thing, but it's actually a lot of stuff, right?
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, they were into what was it? Telekinesis and what was the other one? Something to do with out of body.
Astral
Remote
projection.
remote viewing.
Yep, with remote viewing.
Um, stuff to do with the mind pretty much. It was mostly trying to harvest the power of the mind and use that for other things, nefarious things, obviously.
Yeah. What was that? What was that movie that came out? Men Who Stare at Goats.
The men that
Remember?
stare at goats. Yep.
Yeah, people were that was so funny. They're staring at the goats. All of a sudden, the goat falls over and dies, and people were like, "That was a dumb movie," and it's like that was a real thing. That was
Yep.
actually happening. Man,
Yeah, they're like,
I gotta,
this looks, huh?
I gotta rewatch that movie. It's been years. Shit, I don't
Yeah,
know.
people were like, this is stupid. It never happened. I'm like, yeah, it did.
And crazier stuff happened. I mean, geez, with MK Ultra, like, not just with MK Ultra, but like it's kind of hard to say. A lot of people say, well, it wasn't just MK Ultra. What about Operation Midnight Climax? What about, and it's like that was all MK Ultra. Like it was a big project that government had going.
Yeah, and there was Polybius and Cicada 3301 that I think is tied into it.
Yeah, well, really quickly, let's talk about Polybius because that's something that's very recently, people are beginning to look at again because Polybius was just a myth, right? Wasn't it? Like that's not real; it's an urban legend.
Yeah, it was an urban legend, but people claim to have been a part of it, have seen the machines. The For the listeners that don't know, it was an arcade machine that popped up in major cities all over the United States in arcades, and it was there, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared. But you were telling me that there was some like really sneaky stuff going on with like guys in suits guarding the machines.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not
So
like in your face guarding, but they're like over hiding in the corner.
yep, yep. Watching, they would actually rent out arcades. So this guy had like he was a collector of like classic arcades and he was like trying to get them all. Like I don't know if he wanted to build his own arcade, but he would go to auctions and or go to like abandoned arcades because what people need to understand is that the way the arcade machine worked is it's not the whole thing. It was the computer inside. So they would take out the computer and then the box where it sat in, they would just throw that out. So this guy went to like an abandoned like arcade warehouse or something, and out in the back he found this cabinet called Polybius, and and he was like, "What game is this? Like what is it?" And he was trying to find like how like when you play Galaga or something, it tells you like the company that made it, like Namco or whatever it is. He couldn't find that. he also couldn't find a serial number on it. So
it was just the cabinet then, with
it,
just Polybius on it and nothing else.
yeah, it was just the cabinet, but there was no screen, but there was like a piece of a heart. It looked like it was destroyed. You know, it looked like somebody took a hammer to it or something, and then he found like a piece of it, and he's like, all right, well, what is it? So he wanted to find out what it was. So he had like a message board back when message boards were a thing, and then he was like, he took a picture of it and he posted it. It's like, what game is this? Like, is this like a Japanese brand? Is this like a knockoff of this? And then this one guy was like, I have a story, and he told, and I think they messaged him privately. I think like they emailed him a story. Ooh, what are you drinking there, brother?
A hurricane, a little bit of beer.
Ooh, yeah, I got some.
I want to sleep.
Oh, I got a rocking protein builder, 30 grams of protein, so 190 calories. So it looks like I'm gonna have to work out. Anyways, so this guy told this horror story. Like, this is what happened, and this was weird. And I played it as a kid. And when I played as a kid, I had nightmares, and he kind of told like a story where there was like a guy standing by the machine, and they wouldn't allow like a lot of the kids to get too close. It's like, this is where you're standing. You want to wait your turn. And they would hand them water like while they're playing. They're like, oh, here, have some water. And the kids would drink the water. They start playing. And then he said that he started having nightmares, and he wanted to go back and play this game. He's like, all I could think about all day was going back and playing this game. All I could think, and this. So that happened, right? He ended up going back like a week later to like, because he was like obsessed, and his parents were like, this kid is obsessed with video games and blah, blah, blah. And it's ruining his young life. Be careful, parents, when you're out there and your kid's playing Galaga or whatever the hell it is. So he went back to the arcade and it was gone, and they were asking the owner of the arcade. It's like, hey, what happened to this game? And he's like, what game?
Yep. Yeah, that's classic. What game? I didn't see. No, they were never here. Nope, didn't see nothing.
Yep. And it's like,
meanwhile, he's got a briefcase full of cash in the back.
Full of cash, and then that place mysteriously burns down, and he collects the insurance money, and then he's gone. He skips town.
Yep.
And then that guy got another email from somebody else, and he told the same story, basically, only in a different state. Like, yeah, there I was, and I was like, what is this game? And they stopped me and blah, blah, blah. And he says that there was people like observing from far away and writing stuff down. And he thought it was weird, but you're a kid. You're not going to say like, hey, why are you writing stuff? He's like, oh, somebody's writing stuff down or watching. So before he approaches the game, they hand him this. It didn't specify. It says they also said they gave me water. And by the way, this is like 20 people. This wasn't like 2 or 3 people. There's like 20 people privately like emailing this guy. And then people started hopping on the message boards. It's like, yeah, I remember that game. And people are like, that's the Mandela effect or whatever you want to call it. And it's like, no, I remember this game. Those people. And they all tell the same weird story. So it was almost like, they were trying to, and of course these are theories because it never really came out what it was. But I mean, to me, it sounds like they were doing like experiment, like you don't know what they were giving these kids,
Yeah.
And
yeah, especially just some stranger. It's like, oh, you look thirsty. Have a glass of water. So my guess would be like they're dosing the kids before they can get on this game, and it's not an actual game, I guess you were saying, like Galaga or Pac-Man or anything like that. They were just like, I thought I heard they were shapes, and they were twisting them around. And
there were patterns, and they were observing, like, do you know the pattern? Like asking them weird questions, and I don't know, like what I want to see, like what. Not I want to see. I don't want anything to do with that. But I wish I could know like what, because they didn't specify what they were seeing. Could you imagine you just drink that beverage? Yeah, I'll drink it, and do 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 do
Yep.
do. You're just playing a damn game, and the shapes are coming at you and talking to you. Come on, dirty
Eh,
birdie, spin me around.
I don't think it would be LSD.
Hallucinogenic.
I would think it would be more of a speed type thing to
Try,
focus concentration, pattern recognition,
yeah, something to sharpen your
timing.
senses.
Yeah.
And I wonder, it was probably like experimentation. Like, what if we can create like these super intelligent beings, and then we slowly start putting it in the water? I don't know what they were. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they were. But then
Yeah.
supposedly all these kids were suffering nightmares and addictions, and they see the patterns in their. I think I'm gonna have to research this more, but I think some of the guys were saying that every once in a while they have a dream and they could see these patterns like in their head, or it's in their dreams, and it gives them like the cold sweats. It's almost like it's still like in the back of the mind. So I'm wondering like what were they programming these kids to do? Because it could have also been like sleeper agents, right?
Yeah. Well, pattern recognition for something, for sure. I mean, it sounds like they were tweaking because nightmares, can't stop thinking about it, you're addicted. That sounds like speed side effects and
Yeah,
cold sweats. Oh yeah.
yeah. So like going through withdrawal, right? Like these poor kids are
Yeah.
probably over there just hooked. And these parents had no idea. They even had like a news report, saying like video games are addicting, look at these, and they're blaming like, look at this disgusting game by the devil. They're playing like Centipede and like Calico and Frogger. And it's like it's
Yeah.
not that one.
Well, yeah, and the 80s too was in the throes of the satanic panic. So whatever
Yeah,
they didn't understand was the devil. So
yeah, like they're putting subliminal, but what's crazy with the whole satanic panic is they're backmasking and all that kind of stuff. They did experiment with backmasking, um, trying to see if they can get people to follow orders by just playing like hidden messages, a lot of things. But that's a completely different topic. What is the other one? Okay. Oh, but by the way, so one of the I should have researched the name of this guy. I think it was like either Dr. Sunshine or Dr. Happy, one of those weird like names. We're just gonna call
Dr.
him that, just
Feelgood?
or Dr. Feelgood. Let's just call him Dr. Feelgood. That might have even been his code name. I don't know. So I don't even think that was his real name. I just think that's probably what they called him because of his job. Like, hey, call the doctor. He's gonna make you feel much better. So supposedly, and I say supposedly, allegedly, um, when the kids were like saying like your kids are going through withdrawal, let me call a specialist. They saw a doctor. We'll call him Dr. Feelgood just for the sake of this episode. It's like, well, Dr. Feelgood came in, and then he was like, let me look. Tell me about like your experience. So supposedly this guy put the kids in therapy. All of a sudden they shut up and they didn't like really talk about it anymore. So until they're adults. And then when they were adults, they're like, okay, this is what happened to me. And they probably didn't speak. I don't know what was said, but the kids didn't want to talk about it anymore. So with
It makes me
another,
wonder if it makes me wonder if the parents weren't in the room with the kid with Dr. Feelgood talking to him, or he's like just like, oh no, come on, Timmy, come in here. We'll talk about it.
oh yeah,
Shot, brain, mind wipe.
mind wipe,
You didn't,
yeah,
yeah, you don't. That didn't happen. You're crazy. Go on with your day. 20
yeah.
years later, they're just like, oh God,
I wonder
something.
if, yeah, like something like they saw something all of a sudden, like their memories, like, and all of a sudden
Yep.
they had flashbacks of what happened, because a lot of them they're like, I think this is what happened, and I saw this, and like the memory is not exact. It probably that's something to do with it. The next
Yeah.
one was what Lee Harvey Oswald. Remember how he shot JFK, and then Jack Ruby, the mobster, came up. It's a famous picture with Jack Ruby like aiming
Yep.
the gun at him, and then he shoots him. No one stops him, right?
Yep.
The cops allowed Ruby to walk up to him with the gun and shoot him. What happened to Jack Ruby?
he got locked up. He was put in a cell, and then here comes Dr. Feelgood, and then Jack Ruby
Yeah,
goes crazy.
goes crazy. He was saying that he heard like kids being set, something weird, like kids being set on fire outside of his door, underneath his bed, underneath that table, and he lost his mind. But after
Yeah,
Dr. Feelgood visited him.
that to me that sounds like a mixture of LSD and speed. You keep someone up for 16, 18 hours frying balls, you're gonna see some shit.
Yeah, but they do that in casinos. Don't they like pump oxygen to keep people up and like makes them like act a little bit more irrational because of lack of sleep, so that they don't get tired and all of a sudden are making stupid decisions.
Yeah,
And
it's they're those slot machines are built on purpose. The bright lights, the flashing lights, the sounds, even the paint on the walls, and even the carpeting. It's all meant for you to spend
be
money.
stimulated. Yeah,
Yeah,
because that's ugly carpet. Go into any casino, that carpet is hideous. It looks like something out of like Napoleon Dynamite or something.
yeah.
But so look at how when people go to places like Pocatello or something, like where you go and gamble, you're there for like maybe 24 hours, and a majority of it you're out gambling, and then you start like making stupid decisions. Imagine if they kept you up with speed for days. You know,
What's my bankroll? Because if you're going to be up for 2 or 3 days, you're going to make a lot of dumb decisions, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. So, yeah, like, who's paying for it? Because I'm not.
yeah, it's
After,
and that's
after 2 days, you're going to be seeing and hearing stuff that's not there. So you're probably not going to want to gamble too much.
yeah.
Maybe.
You shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't gamble too much. And so that's what the thing with Jack Ruby was, this guy. So there was a book out there. It was called Chaos, and it was by Ed O'Neill, not the actor, Ed O'Neill, the author, and he had been looking into the Charles Manson, all that kind of. I guess he like comprised evidence for like over 30 years of asking questions. He talked to one of the Manson girls, the one that's free.
Oh, which one was that one? Squeaky?
I think Squeaky was just released not too
Squeak.
long ago.
Yeah, Squeaky Fromm. Yeah, I think that's who it was.
And geez, could you imagine her trying to apply for a job at, like, what do you do? You've been locked up, for murdering somebody, and now you're free.
Yeah, yeah, nothing you can do. And be like, well, what? You're gonna be like, okay, well, you just got out of prison. You're looking for a job. Somebody's gonna ask you, what'd you get locked up for?
That was
Well,
one of the Mansons.
we snuck into a millionaire's house and killed
Oh,
everybody there.
jeez, so dark. And then knowing the way that Walmart operates, they're like, you're perfect for our greener position.
Never know, man. Walmart hires some weird people.
And they're over there hiring the Manson family to greet you when you're going into Walmart. Oh man, jeez. But so with the whole now that could put me on a tangent. Like, damn, like, and I don't know what she looks like. Like, so any Walmart you guys walk into and there's an elderly woman, remember that she could have been one of Manson's girls.
Yeah.
Oh, such a
I just got this.
creepy
I just
thought.
got this image in my. I just got this image in my head of some little old lady going, "Welcome to Walmart, burger." What?
Like, what? Excuse me. What was that? Oh, I said, "Welcome to Walmart." Murder. She's over there handing out Beatles CDs, like, "Oh, you should listen to Helter Skelter." Oh,
It's my favorite track.
oh, gee, yeah, don't do that, dude. That's creepy. She like purposely like scratched it with a knife, like right there, track number 5. Play that. Have a nice day, murder. Oh, jeez, that is insane. Oh man, I don't want to think about that. That is crazy, because it could be anyone. And I don't think, did they release her into California or just like Well, she could be anywhere actually.
Yeah, they let them out and give them a bus ticket to like any major city or something like that, closest bus
Yeah.
stop, and then that's it.
Jeez.
Turn them loose.
Then turn them loose, and she's coming at a Walmart to a Walmart near you. Would you imagine getting an autograph from her? Like, excuse me, can you sign this kitchen knife? Jeez. Oh, that's so creepy. Can you sign this pregnancy test? Oh, all right, that's. Uh, oh, that is nuts. So anyway, so back to the Manson thing. In this guy was asking her questions and then asking other people that were around Manson because there was people in the group that when they were hanging out with Manson and then he like told them this is the plan, you know, they're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And so they kind of like told him stories of like what was going on. And apparently he told them that that Manson was meeting with this guy that was giving him like a lot of LSD. There's like
Yep.
lots and lots of it. So that's why he was able to distribute it so easily. So he was in and out of prison since he was a kid, right? Like petty theft, prostitution at some point, I think.
Yeah.
And he would go in and even an assault. I think he assaulted somebody. He talked a couple of guys into assault. Damn, can you imagine that? You know how charismatic that guy must have been. That he just talked a couple of his neighbors. So like, hey, help me beat this guy up and rob him. And they're like, oh, okay.
Okay. If one of my neighbors came over and was like, hey, come help me beat this guy up, I'm like, you need to leave right now.
Yeah, you need to get out of here.
But I got this magic liquid that'll change your mind.
Damn, dude, you're so good at that. That's crazy. And doing just those weird, like that's what exactly I imagine Manson to sound like. Hey, I got this liquid, man. Let me put it in your protein drink, man. Yeah, he mixes it in front of him.
Little magic bottle.
We're gonna get on the magic school bus, you know. And then next thing you know, you're kicking this poor guy that is on the ground and you're robbing him. So damn, so they assaulted this guy and they threw him into prison. And I guess he was only there for like not even a full day. And then he saw a doctor who was like, oh, let me evaluate him. And he goes in there and his doctor feel good and then turns him loose. He's like, he's good.
Yeah. How many times did he do that though? Just once, or
going to jail
multiple times?
Going to Dr. Feelgood?
No. When he was in the Manson family, and I think he went to jail. Didn't he go to jail a couple of times, and then he was out like the very same day?
Well, according to this book, I should have done a little bit more research, but I'm pretty sure it was like over 5 times. Like stuff that you were to think where a judge would be like, you know what, man, this is the 5th time. You got to stay in here for at least 30 days. But he was turned loose that day or the day after.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he had a friend in high places that would just like, the judge would be like, okay, 30 days in county jail. And then somebody walks in and goes into the judge's chambers. And then next thing you know, it's like, okay, let's go.
All right, let's get out of here. You got to see the good doctor. And then he would see the doctor, get a bunch of LSD, and then go commit an atrocity. You know what was nuts? Was that even in prison, he was getting like all these people to follow him, like through not just through letters, but how many times did he get married in prison?
I don't know. Maybe
you guys can.
If I can remember right, I'm just hazarding a guess here. Probably like 2 or 3 times, maybe.
Yeah,
it was insane, and the amount of marriage proposals he would get through the mail.
That was crazy. There was like over 100 of, and I guess that some of the inmates would say that this guy's commissary, he had everything because people would fill his books.
I don't get it at all.
And through letters, dude.
Yeah.
and just people just wanted to write to him. And I think they also like televised one of his interviews, and he was like talking man, and he was like doing all these kind of things, and he had like he was doing like these weird hand gestures, which I guess were like some people found him to be very hypnotic. The way that I'm like, damn, like this guy was demonically possessed. That is crazy. So
Yeah.
um,
Well, he wasn't dumb by any means. He was pretty street smart. He knew how to manipulate people. And then,
yeah, like me.
dose them with LSD. They're feeling good, and then you can just go in there and be like, "Hey, man, you should probably do this." And then
Yeah, help me beat up the neighbor.
and they're like, "I don't know." And then the next day doses them again and be like, "Hey,
Hey,
let's do the thing."
hop on
And
this bus.
eventually, like,
Didn't he get a bus out in the desert where people that look at it like that's impossible? How the hell did you get this bus? Wasn't he driving around in a school bus?
I don't know. I don't remember. I wouldn't put him past him though, because I mean, you're running a convent, I guess.
Yeah.
So people need a place to sleep in a big bluebird bus and probably do it. You rip out the seats and lay like blankets down on the floor.
That was nuts. And I think that there was a story. I might have misheard this, but I think there was a story where he owed the landlord like a bunch. Like before he actually moved out to the desert, he lived in his apartment. He wasn't paying his rent. So the landlord went in there and he was having like one of his groovy parties, man. And the landlord went over there to basically like to charge rent. It's like, dude, you owe me this much money. And some of the witnesses says that Manson just like took him aside. He was having this conversation with him, like just talk. And then the landlord like gives him money. Like the landlord like just takes out his wallet and like hands him money. And then he just walks out. And and people were like, he got the guy that he owed so much money to give him more money. And
how does that work?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's creepy.
Unless
Give
he
him
was
LSD.
probably like, hey, see all these guys back here? That's in my apartment partying. They'll kill you. If you want me to leave, give me some money. Take them with me.
Give me some money and get me a job at Walmart. I'm just, just let me be a Walmart greeter. Man, if that guy was a Walmart greeter, you buy dumb stuff because he'd convince you to buy anything. Buy a protractor, man. It's like, dude, I'm like in my 30s. It's like, get a protractor, man. All right, I'll take them all.
Yeah. Just imagine him. Oh, that's an evil thought.
Yeah. Just imagine
him working at Costco and handing out drinks.
Oh man, as the like free sample guy,
Yeah, the free sample guy.
I got this
Try
good
this fizzy water, man.
Next
thing you know, you're in the snack section and your grocery cart's filled halfway up, and you're like,
with all the stuff they
need.
No one noticed. Well, no one cares that he's like giving these free samples, this fizzy water out of a paint bucket that he's got by his feet. Oh man, that was nuts. So anyway, so Charles Manson, while he was in prison, he was getting visits from Dr. Feelgood, And what's nuts is when you look at all these cases, like it actually mentions his name in there, and you see this guy's name in everything. It's like, why is this guy? Why is his name? Who is this guy? Like whenever there's like a mind control or something weird with like just something strange where somebody does something crazy that you're like, why would he do that? They always call this guy, to just come over there and talk to him.
It was like something like out of the blue, and all of a sudden they're like, call Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah,
he'll sort it out.
Yeah, he makes you feel good. All of a sudden, these people are too crazy. These poor souls are so insane that they just can't. They're just gonna have to be locked up forever. Dude, another case was the guy that shot RFK, Zirhan, I think what's his name, and that guy was like conditioned to be a fall guy because he went in, he drew a revolver, and the footage shows that he was just bang, 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 bang shooting, but all of the rounds that actually hit RFK were not 38s. I think they were like nines that hit him, and they all hit him from the front. And then I think he just drops the gun and he just stands there without moving, and then they arrest him. And he just stood there. So in court, he's sitting there in court and he's just comatose, not comatose, he's just catatonic. He's just staring, and they're asking him questions, and he has no, almost like he's like, I cannot believe I'm in this situation. And ask him like, why did you do it? He's like, do what? Like, why did you shoot? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember. And he gets put into an institution because he's nuts. And then I'm gonna give you a wild guess. Who goes to visit this poor guy to help him out?
Dr. Feelgood.
Dr. Feelgood shows up to talk to this guy. All of a sudden, this guy's nuts. He's insane. He's a schizophrenic. He can't talk to the media anymore. He won't even show up to appeal his case, even though the evidence is so overwhelming that like any idiot would be like, dude, the gun you have, it doesn't shoot nines. All the rounds were hit from the front. He was standing were hit from the back. You were standing directly in front of him. Appeal your case. And then he's like, I'm nuts. I can't. And they're like, well, there you go. And
yeah. His name wouldn't be Donald Cameron, would it?
I
Dr.
I
Feelgood
don't.
guy.
Dr. Feelgood, I think Dr. Feelgood, Dr. Sunshine. I see. I got to do more. I just remember that his name was on everything. And in this book, Chaos, they talk about like the name. Like this guy's in everything. Like any major case that involved somebody having a psychotic break would do something insane. This guy came in to fix them. All of a sudden, they were worse. This guy came to look at them. They were worse. You couldn't rely on them anymore.
Yep.
Brain was fried.
Brain is fried. Yeah. I was looking at this and this Cameron guy, he would dose patients and play tapes of noises or suggestions while they were comatose.
Yep.
And yeah, he left them for months at a time. Giving them amnesia and stuff like that.
Yeah. So he would do these kind of things, and he would bring in people to look at his work, and he's like, watch this. This guy lived here his whole life. He's never been blah blah blah. But look, when I play these tapes, and even the person's family members are like trying to talk to him, like, we never lived in Uganda. What are you talking about? I grew up in Uganda and I was this little boy. My name was click, 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 and he was like telling these stories about his life that never happened.
Yeah, that was part of the thing is that they would play these tapes and he would give them suggestions while they were comatose. So, yeah, they wake up and they'd be like, I was a little boy in Uganda and running around and playing with monkeys. And
then they're like,
in South Boston.
Yeah, like we've never been there, like, and then he tell these great stories and tell his whole life. And it's like, no, dude, you're from the United States. I've never been there. I've only been in this country for a month. Like, you speak perfectly good English. He's like, I don't know how. I just, and it was just insane. And what was nuts was that at the time, he was bringing in and again, he was getting paid a lot of money to imagine that happening now, and it was televised. Somebody coming in and being like, hey, Dirty Birdie, but record this. We're gonna put it on YouTube. What are you doing? I'm frying this guy's brain. I've been dosing him with LSD, and then somebody says, oh, dude, great work. Here's $1 million. And you're not gonna get away with that.
No.
You're gonna go to prison.
No. Especially if you're just a civvy of sorts. Like I don't. Why would they? It seems so kind of random of sorts, and they just pick this one guy, and they're like, okay, you're gonna run all these mind experiments, and when we need you, we'll call you. You bring your kit, and you essentially put them down, so we don't have to deal with them anymore.
Yeah, fry his brain so much, dude. With the Zerhan thing was so crazy because he wouldn't even defend himself. Like even though the evidence was so overwhelming, he, you know, never did it because it's like this guy is so fried that he, what is he gonna appeal? In his brain, he's just gone. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, and
he
there's
could
nothing
never.
you can do. There's I mean, he's got all these like suggestions in his brain. He thinks it's the truth. There's nothing you can do. You can't convince him otherwise.
Yeah, and then that's what's crazy. And also like he would hook him up to like polygraph tests after he was doing these experiments, and he's like, look what this guy, this guy says that he's a unicorn and he can fly this many miles an hour, and then they hook him up and it's like, are you a unicorn that's been flying? And he's like, yes, absolutely. And that it was the truth according to the machine. I mean, that they're not admissible in court, but this guy was just showing them like, look how bad they can mess this guy up, you know. And everybody's like, you're a genius. Now, here's the question I have for you. So, do you think this kind of stuff happens now?
I wouldn't doubt it. It's probably really, really hush hush, but I wouldn't doubt it. And it's probably really strictly controlled. I mean, yeah, they're probably doing it on homeless people because, who's going to miss a homeless person? Except for other homeless people that have
Oh,
been
yeah,
around them.
except
All
for
of a sudden, like,
other Charlie owes me a blanket.
yeah, and it's like all of a sudden, Greasy Bob has been gone for 5 days, and then he shows back up, and he's absolutely insane.
Oh, what was
Where
that?
he just
There was a million. I don't think it was Bigelow from Skinwalk, but there was story. It might have been him, but there was stories where an employee of his didn't want to reveal his identity, of course, but he was talking about that when he would fire somebody or somebody knew too much, that he would just like make requests to people that were there, and it's like just make him into a homeless guy from Philadelphia. Even though this guy was like a scientist or something, and all of a sudden this guy was gone. He just fired. No one knew where he was, disappeared, and this guy's like, yeah, I overheard him talking to somebody one time, and he says, make him into a homeless guy from Philadelphia. And could you imagine? Wipes your mind and makes you think you've lived in the streets for 5 years, and not that you're like some kind of big shot scientist.
yeah. How would that work? They would have to take away, like, say you're 35 years old, you're a super scientist of sorts, you're working for this dude, and next thing you know is that you don't remember anything from your past. All you know is that 5 years ago you ended up on the streets, and that's where you're going to be living until you die, is on the streets.
Because that's all you know. I mean, and people, you can't say like, well, wouldn't his family find him? Well, if you go to a different city, you're homeless. You're not looking for anybody because you don't know anybody. You're just living your life out on the road. How would you know that you have a family out there that's looking for you?
Yeah, exactly. I
So
mean,
that
when I say all your whole past is gone, all of it is
it's
gone.
gone.
You don't. So
And yeah, and exactly. You're like,
that's
well, what was
terrifying.
that? Dude, there was actually a case. I wish I would have looked this up. But there was a case where this homeless guy. What was the case? Now, for you listeners, you guys are gonna have to, you know, research. There was a homeless guy who the last thing he remembers was coming out of a building and looking around, and all of a sudden, that's the last thing he remembered. And then he was like on the streets for like 20 years. And this one guy felt so bad for him because he's like, how did you end up on the streets? He's like, I don't know. I just remember going outside, looking around, and then blank, and now I'm on the streets. So this guy ended up like getting a whole team together and like trying to find who this guy was. Now he was an old man, by the way. He was an old man, and they like basically like pieced together his past somehow. It took a long time, asking questions, like putting his image everywhere. Do you guys know who this is? And everyone's like, I don't know. So then they end up taking like one of these programs where they're basically made him look younger. somebody was like, I think that's my uncle. And it's like, what? And he goes, yeah, that's my uncle or something like that. He was like one of my family members. And then he went and he's talking to this guy. This guy doesn't know who he is. He's like, I don't know who this young man is. And this guy's like, yeah, one day you just disappeared and we couldn't find you. So we don't know where you went. And then they start showing him like pictures of like when he was young. And he was just a regular guy. He did all these things. And then no one knows how is it that he ended up in the streets for 20 years. So I'm just, you work for Bigelow.
That's interesting. The Bigelow. Oh God. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that you're like in that working for Bigelow? You get up to get yourself a cup of coffee. You wander past his office, and you just hear him say, "Make him a homeless guy from Philly."
Oh, gee.
Yeah. Oh, like, nope, we're done here.
Oh, yeah. Could you, oh, damn, you would be on your best behavior. You're like, Bertie, you're late again.
You're late again. Drink this water.
Yeah, drink it. Hey, man, you look thirsty. Here, drink this coffee. It's like, oh, I'll never be late again. Oh, you won't have to worry about that anymore. And then next thing you know, you wake up and there you are underneath the bridge. You're like,
drink this coffee. Look at this pin.
You're like, yeah. The Men in Black thing. Will Smith comes up and slaps you. You know, it's not even the pen thing that does the flash. He just walks up and he just smacks you across the face. And you just wake up underneath the bridge. You know,
that's terrifying.
Dude, that is crazy. Dude, we're gonna have to cut this episode short. But yeah. So, anyways, guys, pretty soon you can find stuff like this on Patreon. So just I'll keep you posted. So this was fun, dude. This topic is so nuts. We can go for hours because we just covered 3 stories and then a bunch. There's over 10. I mean, we didn't even cover the dream surveys. We didn't cover,
cicada. Can't even talk. Cicada.
Cicada.
Yeah, the big bug that screams on trees in the summer. Yeah, that.
Yeah. We didn't even cover Havana syndrome. All these kind of different forms of like mind control and mind scrambling things. So you guys just be on the lookout for that in the future. So oh, that's weird. I'm pretty sure that cup just levitated. Anyways, so just keep so yeah, we'll just keep you guys posted. Dude, this was fun. Let's keep doing this kind of stuff. So anyways, guys, like and subscribe. I was Decon. This was the amazing
Dirty Birdie.
And remember, guys, I'm gonna use my and remember, guys, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you.